had a really bad panic attack, and I went running to my father, who used to like solve all my problems, and he always had the answer to everything. And I remember him saying, I don't know what to do. I have no idea how to help you. There were so many things going on in my mind at the time when I was depressed, because I kept thinking, is this going to be my life from now on? And the thought of having this thing with me forever was so terrifying. Like I'd become someone that I didn't recognize, because I would do things like hitting my boyfriend, being violent, and then feeling really guilty afterwards and crying about it, because it was like, why did I do that? And it's like I couldn't control myself. I found the church and I walked in, and I remember I was still shaking from a panic attack that I'd had the night before, one of the worst that I'd ever had. And then I walked into this place and immediately I felt a sense of peace and hope. And it's like I knew from that day that things were going to get better. And then I took part in the session that was going on, and I remember the person there saying, you know, basically encouraging everyone to say your life can change no matter how hard the problem is. I started to cry because it was the first time in so many years that I really felt like my life was going to change. I finally found a place that was positive, and that, you know, my problem wasn't impossible anymore, and I actually saw for the first time that I could have a future and be happy. When I look back at how my life was then and how it is today, it's completely different. I'm happy, I have peace, I'm confident about myself, I'm doing things that I never thought I was capable of doing. I have a wonderful husband, we get on so well, and I couldn't have done all that by myself.
Good evening and welcome to Finding Answers. Tonight our topic is one step at a time. When you've decided that you're ready to move forward or start to make new changes to your life, then you will benefit from setting yourself goals, long-term and short-term goals. Now, we could be talking about making practical changes in your life, but we could also be talking about making behavioural changes, and these are often more difficult to remove. Unhealthy behaviours develop over the course of time, so replacing them with unhealthy or healthier ones can also take time. Many people fail to change or start moving their life into a different direction because they try to change too much too fast. By making successful long-term changes, you need to ensure that the new behaviours also become a habit. And as these behaviours do become a habit, then you can add another goal that works towards your overall change that you are striving for. So remember that things can take time, but also that you will have occasional lapses and setbacks, and that no one is perfect, and you will be able to make the changes that you need. So that's tonight's topic.
Now, today I was looking at, not today actually, over the weekend I was looking at Jessica Ennis.
Yeah, the runner.
The runner.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think she's a pentathlon something athlete. And she took a year, I think just over a year out because she had a baby, got married, had a baby. And of course she came back. We were used to seeing her winning gold medals. She did really well in the Olympics. But the thing is, although she qualified for, I think for the Olympics in Rio or something like that, she didn't do as well as she usually did. And she was out for over a year. She's now just getting back to fitness. And I think sometimes, this is just an example to illustrate how some people sometimes want to reach a certain point too fast. And we don't understand that some things in life, they have to have a steady progress, but it may not be a very fast progress, right? For example, you're studying to get a degree. Ideally, you would want to finish your degree tomorrow so you could start making some money. But it takes time getting a degree. It takes time becoming a doctor, becoming whatever it is that you want to do in life. If you quit school to go and get an apprenticeship, it takes time being good at something. And life is made of steps, taking steps. But the important thing is that you do take these steps. They usually say that the longest of journey starts with just one step. I think sometimes, Victoria, a lot of people feel overwhelmed by what they want to achieve, how great it is, and how far, how distant it may be. And because of that, they don't even take that first step. That's the problem. So they say, look, I want this, it's so important, it's so great. But because it's so great, you feel afraid to take that first step. And life is passing you by, and you're in the same place you were perhaps a year ago or years ago. And sometimes it only takes that first step. That first step is always the most important. Do you agree?
I do, and I think that the main problem is actually that people will set those barriers up for themselves. So they will look too far into the future. Whereas actually if you start today, right now, making very small steps, sometimes you'll look back and you'll actually be surprised as to what you've actually achieved. But if you set up these huge barriers and you don't take that first step, then it can be year after year after year, you're in the same situation.
Yeah. And maybe you're watching me now and you say, look, I'm full of problems. You know, when you want to tidy your room, imagine you just moved into this new house and there was someone living there who messed up the whole house. And you want to start fixing the house, but the house is so messed up, you don't know where to start. You don't know if you start in the ground floor, the first floor, the bedrooms, the roof, the windows. But you've got to start somewhere. Just start. And that's life. Maybe right now you say, look, I don't know what to do with my finances. My marriage is a mess. My health couldn't be worse. Maybe you have all these problems and you don't know where to start. And if you start in one thing, if you start with your health, for example, doing something positive with your health, if you start with your marriage, maybe paying it forward, as they say, you start paying attention to that person who's with you and doing things for them without expecting anything in return. Maybe that's what you do. And you see this little result, and that little result motivates you. You will want to do more. And that's how our life works. You take a step and you see it was not as bad as you thought it was going to be. Then you take a second one and you get motivated. You take a third one and you get this excitement of where your life could go, the possibilities ahead of you. Maybe you don't find yourself right now faced with many possibilities, but if you take that first step, you can do that. Our God is a God of strength, and He can strengthen you to take that first step. Let's have a look at this video. We're going to come back in just a moment, and I'll tell you how you can get in contact with us today to join us for prayer, for you to receive this strength, for you to take perhaps that first step you've been putting off for so long. Now, if you are facing yourself, or if you're faced rather with discouragement, lack of motivation, lack of strength, for you to take that first step, I want you to get in contact with us. Why would you do that? Very simple. Because, you know, there's only so much that motivation can do. And I'm going to be honest with you. You can watch motivational tapes of speakers who are great, and that will motivate you for a while. But the strength for you to take the first and the second and whatever step you're going to take, this strength has to come from inside you. If you have this strength inside of you, you never again have to depend on another motivational speaker again, or anybody else for that matter. So if you want to get in contact so that you can receive this prayer of strength at the end of the program, you can do that. We'll include your name in the prayer book. The telephone number for you to call is 020-7686-6300. That's 020-7686-6300. Or you can send us your name and the problem you're going through to our email address, which is help@findinganswers.tv. Or you can also use Facebook and Twitter to do that. Victoria will tell you how to do that just now.
So if you'd like to talk to us via social media, then you can send us a tweet. Just start your tweet with @FindAnswersTV, or search for us on Facebook. Just search for Finding Answers.
Let's go to a short break. We'll be right back, and we'll be interviewing two guests who will be explaining to us their real life story and how step by step they got their life back on track. We'll be right back.
Make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger.
My Channel TV, featuring a kaleidoscopic daily dose of programming. Stay with us every day and explore politics, economics, science, technology, lifestyle, culture, sports, and much more. We're here to amuse you, to keep you updated, and to keep you company. We're My Channel, your channel on Sky 203.
Are you a duck? What can it do? It swims. It walks. It flies. But does it do them all well? Yes, a duck can do all of the above, but it's not known for being great at any. So, are you a duck? Rather than attempting to do all things, why not be the best at one thing at a time? You will find you'll actually learn to be great at more things. This is your UCKG timetable. We are open 7 days a week, helping you to make a new beginning. Monday, a meeting focused on achieving more in your financial life. Tuesday, prayers for healing. Wednesday, a meeting teaching you to develop in your spiritual life. Thursday, a special prayer for the family. Friday, a service for your spiritual deliverance. Saturday, Find the One, a service specifically tailored for your love life. Sunday, Reconnect with God, the main meeting for your spiritual strength.
Welcome back. Now, before we meet today's guests, here's what we really want you to understand from today's topic. Have a look at this video.
When life throws you a shocking or life-changing event, it can knock you back significantly. You can develop feelings of anxiety and fear. You may close yourself off from the world,
pretend that everything is okay, and secretly break down. It may seem like the impossible to get back up and face life. Immediately after experiencing a traumatic event, it is common for people to feel shocked or numb or unable to accept what's happened. Experiencing shock is a rare occurrence for most people, so when they do go into shock, it can be very confusing. You may cut off from your feelings or from what's going on around you. Denial may even be something that people experience, not being able to accept what's happened. This could lead to fear, feeling helpless, even onto anger. It may seem like the impossible for you at the moment to move on and survive. But by taking one step at a time, you can find yourself back on track with an inner strength that you never knew you had.
Pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
Welcome back. Now, if you want to get in contact with us throughout this show, not necessarily because you want to be live on the program and talk to us live here in the studio for everyone to hear you, but maybe you want to ask for prayer. Why? Like I said earlier, maybe you try to get strength to do the things you need to do, the steps you need to take from these external sources. You hear tapes, not tapes anymore, right? But maybe audio files, I don't know what you call them anymore, of motivational speakers and people who try to tell you that you can, if you think positively, you'll do well. But all these things are external sources of strength, and you are not going to have them with you all the time. But if this source of strength is inside of you, is part of you, then you don't need to depend on these things anymore. And that's what we ask God to do, is that He places in you the strength that you need to do the things you wanted to do but you couldn't. To prove that this works, we have two amazing guests who will be telling you their story here. But if you want to get in contact with us, do so by calling us on 020-7686-6300. You can leave your name for the prayer at the end of the program there, or send us an email to help@findinganswers.tv, or search for us on Facebook, which is Finding Answers TV. Is that right, Victoria? No, Finding Answers, or on Twitter. Okay, let's meet our first guest, Daljit. How are you, Daljit?
I'm fine, thank you.
Daljit, before we talk about how you took steps, one step at a time, to get your life back, where did things start to go wrong for you?
Things started going wrong in my life when I lost my house, and we had to go and live on rent. My son and my daughter. That's when things became really hard.
Right.
We didn't know which way to go.
Why did you lose your house?
The reason we lost our house because marriage broke down.
Right.
Yes, from there. So we went our own ways, and he went his way, and my children and me, we went our other way.
How long were you married for, Daljit?
I was married for 26 years.
26 years?
Yes.
I imagine restarting on your own again after 26 years can be quite scary.
It was scary.
How did you feel when that marriage ended and you had to start everything again by yourself?
It was really upsetting. I was going through what's going to happen. It wasn't hard. It was very hard. It wasn't easy. It was very hard for me. And we were emotional, my son, my daughter as well. Through that, we stuck together, and when the house got sold, we just ended up living on rent. Right.
So you had this, no matter how bad the marriage was, you had this kind of security because you had someone with you, you had a house that was yours. Yes. And then all of a sudden you lost all of that in a heartbeat.
Go.
and I mean, what did you think? Did you think that you could make things work, that you couldn't? What was going through your head at that point?
For me, that point, it was how we're going to manage, how we're going to live. We haven't lived on rent, and when you have your own house, how good it was to have your own property, and after that, going somewhere else, it was completely different. It wasn't same. It's not the same thing when you don't have your house.
Did you feel like we were saying earlier that you didn't know where to start?
Yes, it's true. I didn't know where to start. It was hard for me.
So you were completely lost.
It was.
Right?
I was lost.
Okay.
Yes.
So before you tell us how you changed, I want to speak now to Tajera, right? I got, because we have two unusual names here today, so I got them right. Daljit and Tajera. Tajera, what about you? Again, before you start telling us where step by step you rebuilt your life, where did things start to go wrong for you?
Well, it started with the separation between my stepmom and my dad. After they split it up, that was it. Like, I didn't know what to do, like what was going to happen, how things was going to work. So that, for me, I took it to heart, and everything just went downhill for me.
Mm-hmm. But why? I mean, was it similar to her case, that you lost the stability you had, or was it the emotional stability that you lost? Why did that affect you so much?
Because I was brought up with having two parents there to like support, and someone that was like there. So after they split up, I just thought, okay, they're not together anymore. What am I gonna do? My dad's not in the house anymore. Like, I was a daddy's girl, so it would always be my dad. But because he wasn't in the house anymore, it's just like, okay, what do I do? And like, he was the father figure, so there wasn't a father figure in the house anymore. So it's just like, okay.
How did it affect you in your daily life? I mean, following that breakup, I mean, did you change as a person? Did your behavior change?
Yeah, I changed, but the wrong way, because I just went wild. I was just doing a lot of crazy things. I was so empty inside. I started to look for things to fill that emptiness, but they never filled the emptiness that I needed, the love.
What kind of things would you be doing, or would you look for to fill that void?
I would always want to go out partying, always want to go out with my friends. I would speak to like loads of different boys just to feel that love, just to feel like I was looking for something, but I couldn't find it at home, so I would go out and try and find it.
Right.
Like, I would drink a lot, just like with those different things.
You drink a lot of water?
What like alcohol.
Okay.
Like, my parents didn't know, but like when I would go out partying, I'd be there drinking non-stop.
Okay. I mean, you know, for you who are watching us now, maybe you say, well, there's nothing wrong with going out with your friends and so on. Indeed, but the problem is what you get up to when you're doing that, and that was a problem, right?
Yeah.
Did you get to the point of looking at yourself and not recognizing who you were anymore, the kind of things you were doing?
Yeah, like there's the thing, I never used to like to look at myself in the mirror because I didn't like who I was. So when I wouldn't look in the mirror, I'd probably look at myself for like 2 seconds, but then I would look away because I didn't like who I became.
But you mean who you became on the inside, or who you were on the outside?
Mostly on the outside, I was putting up a front, so to everyone I was all right, I was always smiling, I was Tajera, like I was a happy person, but inside I was broken, like I was completely destroyed from the inside.
Now, going back to you, Ms. Daljit, you know, all of a sudden you lost everything you had in terms of stability. You still had your children there with you. When you looked around at your life and you wanted to rebuild your life, did you ever get to a point where you knew where you wanted to start, but you didn't have the strength, or you didn't even know where to start?
To be honest, I didn't know where to start, and I didn't even have that strength. Worries in myself, I was lost. Like she said, you know, when you look at yourself in the mirror, and I didn't even want to look myself in the mirror. I didn't like myself. And I said, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I can't do that anymore. What I used to do before. And what was wrong with me that this has happened? Why did it happen to me? There was questions all the time in me. Like that question mark was always there.
Right.
Yeah, it brought so much unhappiness in me. I was sad all the time. Even if my child, they crack a joke, I wouldn't even laugh or, you know, bring a smile on my face.
So that was affecting your relationship with your children
as
well, right?
Yes, it did. It did.
You know, I'm going to tell you after the break where is the best place to start? If you have all these things that are happening in your life and you don't know where to start, what is the first step to take? I'm going to tell you where is always the best place to start. So don't go anywhere. I'm going to tell you that after the break. And maybe, like Daljit, you have been in a relationship that lasted a long time, and all of a sudden you lost that relationship. It's finished. So you lost that security blanket you had. You don't know what you're going to do. Maybe you lost the security blanket of a business, a job that you had that was doing well for a while, but you lost it. Now you have to start from scratch. Maybe you are in, ground zero. You are starting from absolute scratch. I'm going to tell you after the break where you should be starting from. We'll be right back.
Steering killer drones. Aircraft missiles won't reach Syria for several months. Fighter jets to be outside.
Do the maths. Changing your life is not as simple as changing your hairstyle, your shirt, or rearranging the furniture in your living room. You're talking about years of deep-rooted habits, behaviours and problems that are not going to change overnight. Many may say, think positively, but the trouble with that is that you can't do or change anything with just thoughts. But add action into the equation and the outcome can be different. Let's do the maths. Positive thinking plus action equals a change. Whatever it is, if the change is significant, if it's worthwhile, then it will have to take time, effort, and homework from you.
As a man, I understand the struggles men like me go through. They need to be strong always and not to show any weakness, even though it's there. To be a leader to our family, to our wife and kids, when we really wish someone else would show us the way. To choose what is right in a world of wrongs. To admit to our mistakes when our egos don't want us to be exposed. To learn to be a man when we're still only a boy inside. Being a man is not easy. But hard is also a part of being a man. We don't like anything easy. We want challenges. We want to prove that we can do it. That we are bigger than the problems staring us in the face. That's why we go to the moon, we climb the Everest, we sail around the world, and build fast cars. We like the feeling of accomplishment. And Please don't ever tell us it can't be done. We will die trying. Being a man is not easy, but we wouldn't have it any other way. And yet, the true conquest of a man is not measured by his money, power, or fame. His greatest achievement is to overcome himself.
Welcome back. Now, before the break, I said I would tell you where is the best place to start if you're not sure where to start something. So you have all these things going on, all these problem areas in your life, your love life, your health, your finances, your family, you name it. Where do you start? Where?
Definitely depression is probably number one.
They're arguing and they're talking negatively about each other.
What is more valuable than another? And so
you can have as many friends and family as you want. It just depends.
Is a common regret, like, oh, like I should have like asked that person out, or like.
Hi, I'm Chika here on the streets of London for Finding Answers. Tonight's topic is one step at a time. Is this a way that we can see failure? Failure happens to all of us at one point in our lives, but the way we see it, can it really affect the outcome? That's just what I'm going to be finding out from the general public. Let's see what they say. There's a quote that says, "Treat failure as a stepping stone to success." Do you agree, and why?
Yeah, I agree, simply because if you succeed at everything you do straight away, then you wouldn't know what it's like to fail. Like the first time you fail, you would struggle with it. You wouldn't be able to take failure on the chin. I think a lot of people fail and then they kind of give up. But when you fail, that's a sign that what you did didn't work. You can do another thing. Try again. Keep trying. That's the best way forward, really.
I completely agree with that, because I think you learn from your mistakes. I think I dropped out of uni and like sort of failed that way, but I've learned from it and I've got better from it. So I think you learn from your experience.
Yes. Treat failure as a stepping stone to success. Yes, because I think you should try again and do that.
Yes. I don't think there's any such thing as failure, really. Everything's a learning opportunity. You've just learned how to do something not that particular way.
So where do you start? Just start somewhere. That's the truth. I mean, we could all say that you should start with your spiritual life, you should start with your family, you should start with something. But the truth is, if you're not sure where to start in taking steps in your life to change things, you have all these directions that you think you should be going, 10 things at a time. Just start somewhere. And you'll see if you start something there, you'll start making progress, things will start getting better. And as a result, you'll be motivated to do all the other things. Now let's go back to our guests. So first of all, Ms. Daljit, where did your change start in your life?
The change started when I went to the church. When I went to church and it showed there is help up in the church. Spoke to the helpers are there, so they told me what to do, what days to attend the church. So I started attending those days. And they showed me, they gave me a chain of prayer card. I started doing that. That's when I started seeing changes in my life.
Right. You said before that you wanted to do something to change your life,
yes,
but you didn't have the strength.
No, I didn't.
When you went for the church and people prayed for you and motivated you, did you feel you were receiving that strength?
Yes, the helpers, they prayed for me as well. And for me, it was something different. And I knew that, you know, there is light. You can see there's helpers were here. So they used to sit with me whenever I needed to talk to them. They took their time, they spoke to me, and the strengths are coming in me.
How did your life change? How is your life now? After you attended the church and made the chains of prayer, received that strength, how are things now for you, Daljit?
My life is really good now. I'm very happy. and my kids are very happy as well.
Do you laugh at the jokes now?
Yes, I do. I do. And you know, I would say, you know, that's the place everybody, whoever got problem, they should go there. You do get a lot of advice, help with anything you're going through in life.
Okay, so you found a new direction.
Yes, I
for
did.
Your life.
I did.
Okay, let's go now to Tajera, right? Tajera, what about you? First of all, how did you find out about the church?
Well, through my cousin and my auntie. Through that, I started to come, and the help that I was getting, like the advice that was being given, I started to put it into practice, and I started to come Wednesdays and Fridays and Sundays, and I started to put what I was learning, like using it within my family and like within myself, so that I was able to change, so that I can see the change within my family.
And what about these habits you acquired of drinking and partying and going out with boys? What about those habits?
Well, I realized that if I want to see the change, then I need to stop these things, so that my life was so that I was able to change. So I stopped doing all of those things. It took time, as you were speaking about, step by step. So I had to do these things step by step, and till I was completely cut off from.
So you didn't change overnight?
No.
It wasn't like 100 steps at a time. It was one step at a time, right?
Yes.
And how are you as a person now? I mean, you said before you were looking for fulfillment in all these things. Well, how are you inside now?
Well, today I'm peaceful inside. Like, I'm happy. I don't need to be around people to feel happy. I don't need to be like put up a front and pretend that I'm happy. Like, I am like truly happy from the inside, and everything's completely different. My stepmom, I have peace with her. My dad, peace with them, and everything's.
That's great. Thank you so much for being on the show, guys. And you know, you have proof here that life doesn't have to start changing with this big explosion of things happening. It starts with something small. A small adjustment can make a huge, tremendous change. It may not make a huge, tremendous change in the first day, in the second day, but if you stick with it, sooner or later, it's just a matter of time until you start reaping the benefits of your changes. We're gonna watch a testimony now, and after that we're gonna go to a break. And after the break, Pastor Abraham, who's usually here with me on Mondays, he'll be here. We're gonna be making a prayer on your behalf at the end of the show. Now, if you would like to send your name for prayer, you can do that via our telephone line, which is 020-7686-6300. You can call now. Our team are ready to speak to you right now. Just give them your name and the problem you want us to pray for. Or you can send us an email to help@findinganswers.tv. Let's go to a short break. First, let's watch his testimony, then we'll be right back.
I had so many expectations for my life. I thought I would go to university or do what I wanted to do, travel, get married, be happy, and have a happy family. But everything, every area of my life, especially my family, was destroyed. And I got to the point that it was just me, and I was, in a sense, left holding the baby. The relationship completely broke down. That's when I hit rock bottom. The realization of knowing that I was by myself, I hadn't achieved any of the things that I'd set out to do, and I was now going to bring a child up into the world. I would cry myself to sleep. I would cry in the mornings, and even if I wasn't physically crying, inside there was so much pain, so much hurt from so many things, and now being in this situation I didn't know how to handle. The tears didn't stop for such a long time. And the change happened when I realized that things could change, that I didn't have to be unhappy. I was invited to a women's meeting, and I understood that I could be happy, that although the situation had been so difficult until now, being a single mother wasn't the end of the world, that I could achieve everything that I wanted, but for that to happen, I needed to start with myself. I started to understand the power of prayer. I started to understand what it was to have faith. I started to understand what it is to invest in myself, and all those things that had been holding me down, the complexes, the insecurities. I started to understand that I can achieve things, and I needed to change my focus from the situation, from my child, to myself, and to use the faith that I had found to put things and my problems into God's hands. Today I can look at my child and I'm proud. I'm proud to be a mother. I have inner peace. I'm happy with myself. I value myself.
She told me, you are beautiful. I love you. Say again. You are beautiful.
Your destination. A destination that's not defined by your circumstances, by what's happening to you now, by what happened to you in the past.
So today was my first time and I absolutely loved it.
Come and see. They need to come and really test it.
You are a warrior, and we need these qualities that you have to come and defend our household.
Just a big eye-opener on how positive changes will make such a big difference in all that I do, so yeah.
What captured me was the title, The Inner Healing, because I've been going through a lot in my life and I've overcome them, but there were things that I needed to deal with that were deep down on the inside. And it was the inner healing that captured my thoughts, and I was intrigued to find out what was going on.
You get what you give out.
Women need this. Women need a meeting like this.
Hiding in my skin, broken from within, unveil me.
So ladies, it's lovely to have you in the studio with me. I'm rather excited.
Does character matter?
If you're married, you shouldn't be flirting with somebody else on that. Forward and back, forward and back. Roll on the knee. Relationships and money, can the two really work?
Absolutely.
I think that appearance is important.
How do you define
character?
Yeah.
And you want to have that perfect house, but you've got to realise everything happens at the right time.
I've got a friend who puts all her business on Facebook, and I just can't stand to read it. You're learning already. Do you cook at home?
Yes, I cook.
Mr. Right is just right under your nose. You get a checklist, but that checklist becomes a shopping list.
But in life, sometimes it's good to be different.
I want to take a few moments right now to talk to you directly. I know that there are people who are watching me now. And when they watch this program, it's like we're talking to them. It's like we know their problems. We get people telling us this a lot. It's like, oh, when you speak in the programs, like you know what's happening in my life. It's not that I know what's happening to you specifically, but I've been there to where some of the problems you are going through. We hear situations of people here who have overcome problems that are similar to yours. So we know that it's possible to overcome the problems you're going through right now. But everything starts with a step. That step could be you coming to the church for the first time, right? The church is like a hospital. Our church is like a hospital. We're open 7 days a week. You can just walk in. You don't need an appointment. The pastor there won't charge you to see him. He's there. We are like a standby doctor. That the moment you walk in through the doors and you say, I want to talk to someone about my problems, someone will be there to listen to you. If it takes half an hour, 2 hours, it doesn't matter. And you can come back the next day and talk to us again. We're there. Actually, if people don't come to us to talk to us, then we're not doing our jobs. And what makes us happy is to help people to take the necessary steps to change their lives. I have Pastor Abraham here with me. Good evening, Pastor Abraham.
Good evening, Bishop.
I think there's nothing more rewarding than seeing a person coming in to the church with a life that is problematic, and then you help the person, you guide them to take the steps one by one, step after step, and then you see the person coming back with the transformations. This is what makes us do what we do.
Yes, and you know, Bishop, we never promise people that their lives will change overnight. This is really important to those who are watching this program to understand that your life will never change overnight. It's not a magic, but it's going to be a step at a time. For example, you might have a target, a big dream to achieve, but we are going to teach you how to break it down in small goals, so that the person changes in one thing here, another way, another there. So over the Sunday, the person look and say, wow, I changed. I overcame this problem here. Now it's about time to move on to another one. And as time goes by, so she sees her life completely transformed.
And it's important to say as well, Abraham, that it's you who has to take the steps, not me. You know, I can pray for you and I can say maybe this is a good point for you to start, but you have to take the steps. Don't expect someone to do what you need to do. We get a lot of people who call us and say, hey, listen, pray for me. Don't forget to pray for me. They call us, send us emails. Don't forget to pray for me. We do, but you know, it's easy. Please get the camera here on the sofa, please. It's easy for you to call me there from your sofa with a cup of tea in front of you and some tortilla chips, watching the program or whatever people eat when they watch the program, and you call saying, pray for me. But what effort are you doing with that? That's the problem. What you need to do, it's to stand up. Let's stand up without cutting my head, please, the camera. You need to stand up and say, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to do something to change my life. So, you know, calling us and asking for prayer is important. But more important is saying, you know what? I'm going to go there. I'm going to see a pastor and I'm going to receive this prayer in person. And something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. But what's going to happen is that my life is going to remain the same. Maybe you're watching me now and you're tired of the life you have. You're sick and tired of every day waking up with the same problems. You don't want that anymore. So, you know, calling and saying, oh, pray for me, it helps. But it doesn't change everything. That's only the first step. The second step is you going there and say, listen, I'm here. What do I need to do to change my life? And that question is very powerful. Asking someone, what do I need to do? It guides you to two things. Number one, it tells you what you need to do, of course. And number two, it shows that you are ready to follow guidance. If you say, listen, show me how I can get to Central London, it means you're telling him, talk, I'll listen, and whatever you tell me, I'll do it.
Yeah, it is just like going to a doctor, and the doctor prescribes a medication the person is not willing to take. So one help.
What's the point?
Yeah, what's the point then? So the doctor spent 30 minutes, 1 hour, did a checkup, but at the end of the day, the person is not willing to follow the doctor's prescription. So what's the point there?
And then, sorry to continue you, and then there's worse. There's the person who doesn't have a clue about medicine and wants to tell the doctor who went to university for 5 years, for 7 years, what to prescribe to him. The doctor says, you need this antibiotic. No. You better give me. I mean, how can you tell the person who knows how to fix your problem what they should be doing?
Not mention about those who the doctor prescribed, let's say, five tablets per week, and the person decides to take only 2 or 3. Yeah. So not following the proper steps.
Pastor Abraham, let's pray. We're going to join our faith right now. I have my glass of water here in my hands, and we are going to pray for God to give you the strength for you to overcome the problems you have and to take the step you need to take. By the way, if you want to come and see me tomorrow in the church, you can do that. Give us a call now. Our team are still there. Book an appointment for you to come and see myself, Pastor Abraham, one of our pastors in the local centers, and we'll be there to help you. Prepare yourself. Let's talk to God. Receive the strength you need to change your life.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer concerning your family and loved ones, send your name and prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
My Lord, in the name of the Lord Jesus, we join our faith right now. Our guests are here together with us in the same faith to pray for those who called. I pray for Imatu, who called, for Lena Davis, and for those who didn't have the strength to call. But we are making this prayer now so that they can receive the strength to say, I'm going to do something about my problems. I'm going to do something about my life. I want to change my situation. I want to change my circumstances. I want to take a step to change my life, even if it means that this step may be a small one, but it will be an important one nonetheless. Lord, you are a God who heals. So heal this person right now. Touch their body. Let the lump that this person has, the cancer, the disease, let it subside, disappear right now. I pray for those, my Lord, whose marriages are on the brink of divorce. Let there be a restoration in this marriage, my Lord. Let there be a transformation in this marriage. Whatever the problem this person is facing, we may not have the time to mention all of them, but I believe that right now you are touching them with your powerful and mighty hands. In Jesus' name, consecrate this water. As this person will drink of it, let them receive the strength they need in the name of the Lord Jesus. Drink this water there where you are now. You still have a few minutes if you want to book an appointment and come and see us. We'll do whatever it takes to find time to speak to you. We'll squeeze time from where we don't have, it doesn't matter, but we'll be there to speak to you. And listen, it's not like a psychiatrist who says, listen, your 1 hour is up. We're not going to tell you your 1 hour is up. We'll be there to listen to you, to help you, no matter what. If you want, you can count on us. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Until tomorrow, have a wonderful night. May God bless you.